Don't write it, and we'll do it live.
Spaces, things exist. And the lines that form the network of your mind. Behind the retinas of imagination are the particles and peripherals that made you who you are. Turn off, shut your eyes, and listen to dispatches from outside the box.
We're history.
But that isn't true. Think about it. If you travel to the past, that past becomes your future. And your former present becomes the past, which can't now be changed by your new future.
So Back to the Future is a bunch of bullshit?
All right. Hello, everyone. Oh, Back to the Future is a bunch of bullshit. There you go.
88 miles an hour, Doc.
So whether it's to right or wrong, seeing a future outcome, reliving a memory, or just wishing to peruse a time long forgotten, everyone at some point has wished time travel were real. That fascination has led to epic futuristic books, wild movies, and at least one generation-spanning TV show. Tonight, the panel is going to discuss whether time travel is possible, and as well as the effects it's had on centuries of storytelling. Will it ever get old? Only time will tell. I'm C Michael Lanning, independent artist and mad scribbler, welcoming you to another Inquiring Dispatch. So without further ado, let's meet the panel. Sensational Stone Abdullah. Tell them who you are, sir.
Hello, everybody. I'm this guy, Sensational, aka Dr. Feelgood. It depends on the day. I'm a science fiction novelist, and when you know it, time travel is right up my alley. I've been writing for, a few years, just a handful. Got a couple of novels. And I have a physical sciences background. I studied astrophysics. I studied physical science, Earth systems, you name it. And I used to do research and development for the feds. So I'm nothing strange, but I'm just saying all the stuff about aliens. That's
Quick, everybody, flush your weed.
Don't believe it.
Flush the LSD down the toilet. Okay?
Well, that beginning, I thought someone had dunked some ayahuasca in my whiskey because that was quite freaky.
I appreciate that. I'm known to be a freaky person, but it depends on the type of freak. Anyway, Grandmaster Zim, I think that's who we're trying to.
Wait! I noticed you kind of have some empty walls back there, Stone.
Oh yeah, that's a long story. Maintenance was coming over, and I was just like, well, let me just take down the literature, and that's another story. Okay,
yeah.
A lot of things.
I got you.
You had a girl over, didn't you?
It was Maxima.
You can't lie to us.
It was Maxima, the stripper. That's another show. That's tomorrow.
Well,
All right.
we already know you're broadcasting from the closet next door to the strip club.
Did you have to give it away? So
Sorry.
so soon?
No, you gave it away with that lighting.
I mean,
Yeah.
but it looks good.
If that doesn't scream stripper dressing room, nothing does.
Nothing does, but it looks good. You can't argue that. All right.
Yeah, right.
We love
All
you.
right.
That's why we pick on you.
That's it.
I love you guys.
Time writer Randy Zimmerman. Go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
I am the time writer. Yeah, great.
Time
That was
writer.
that was a decent movie, probably before your time. But anyway, hey everybody, I'm Randy Zimmerman. I'm a longtime alternative and independent comics creator, producer, publisher, and everything for the wonderful art form called comics. I've just about done everything that you can imagine. Retailed for 10 years, did my own paper for 10 years, ran a couple of comic companies, and now I'm part of the Long Shots campaign, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. But I also do the Zimcast on Wednesday nights on this very network and the fantastic Sunday Funnies show early on Sunday morning. So where we talk about the fun part of funny books. So hope you get to join me over
Gotcha.
there. But today we're going to talk about time travel.
All right. And of course, I want to introduce our newest panelist, Mighty Mitch Rogers. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Mitch.
Hello,
Mighty.
I'm Mitch Rogers. I am a comic book writer and artist. I'm the creator of the Boger horror comic book series. And that's basically all my credits so far.
You'll get more as you go along.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Yes.
collecting carrots. You got
And dirty underwear. Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah, you get more.
And of course, we have our special guest for this evening coming to us at 3:00 in the morning, where he's at. Sir Rowdy Russ Leach. How are you doing, sir?
Rowdy.
Yeah,
Russ Leach.
fine. Tired and drunk, so I'm fine.
There you go.
That's a good combination. I like
Life is good.
Yeah, it's a warm and cozy combination.
it.
Tell you where you're from, Russ.
I'm from the UK. I've been drawing comic books since 2010 after a previous life in the creative industries. And I've done all kinds of stuff. Worked for Panini and Hachette over in here in Europe, along with Marvel and DC. And done some stuff for Cartoon Network, for Ben 10, and also currently a Doctor Who artist for the Doctor Who magazine, which started off as a Doctor Who comic way back when.
And for any of our listeners that aren't aware of what Panini is, that is what the Jawas said right at the start of the New Hope when they came to get the R2. Panini.
Apart from being a great sandwich,
Yeah.
Yeah. Apart from that, so-
Panini effectively bought up the whole of Marvel UK's rights when Marvel UK went down in the 90s. So they effectively reprint DC and Marvel stuff, and they have an exclusive right to do so for Marvel in Europe. But they do lots of other stuff, and I'm involved with them at the moment for quite a few things.
Cool. Awesome.
It's awesome.
Also, I have my own book, Only Death Can Save Us,
Yeah.
which is on is on volume 2 now, and that will be finished in June, and hopefully sent out to everybody forthwith.
Sweet.
All right. Awesome. See, Grant Lankard is joining us in the chat. It's like, good evening,
What's up, Grant?
Good day, Grant.
I'm on time for once. So are we.
Yeah, about time. It's about time,
It's about
Grant.
time. That's
Literally. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry.
So,
And an odd and unusual TV show, way ahead of your time. It's about time.
Yeah, that's ahead. Yeah, that's ahead of my time.
Look it up.
Let's see. I'm going to
I think
bing
cavemen were in it.
okay.
it. I'm going to bing it.
You laugh.
Oh, okay.
You laugh and you doubt.
There it is. See,
So-
there it is.
Told you.
1966, 1967. Yeah, that was before my time.
It's about time.
That's it. Okay.
Was it a
see?
Okay. All right. So
What
anyway,
you
we're
got
also
for
gonna
me?
later on we're gonna be joined by another guest if he can make the time for us. So it's a
If
prize.
the trains run on time.
That's right.
Yeah.
So what's the deal with time travel? What is the general appeal, Russ? What do you think is the general appeal for people in time travel? Is it because they want to change something? Is it to see how the world used to be, or maybe see the future?
Yeah, I think people are interested in both directions, what was and what will be. There are plenty of writers that just use it to mess up stuff.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But those mistakes aside, it's just fertile ground, isn't it? It's a place to let your imagination go and do it in a way that, especially if you go backwards in time, has a grounding with what you know, which is what the best science fiction writing is effectively taking what you know and kind of putting it in a fantastical setting, which is, why we have great things like Star Trek. That's,
Precisely.
it's that's what it does. And I think time travel is one of the most fertile places, because you can just play with things. You can go back and play with the past or play with the future.
Yeah.
It's a sandbox of imagination. What can't you do with it?
Sands of time.
Exactly.
There we go.
Yeah, especially with the future. Especially go far enough in the future, the whole Federation breaks apart. Anyway,
listeners.
But loops as well. Loops are incredibly good fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the film Looper. I quite enjoyed that. I thought it was quite good, and that was very. Or was it 12 Monkeys? That kind of thing.
Yeah, I love 12 Monkeys.
Yeah. And one of the first Looper stories I came in contact with was in 2000 AD in the UK and Tharg's Future Shocks, and it was about this. It was about this situation where a guy went into the future, billions of years into the future, and found that our Earth was just sterile, and wasn't quite sure why it had happened. And then he went back and told everybody, and then what happened was all these terrible starfish creatures turned up and ate everything on the planet. I think it was plastics, but it ended up eating everything. So it was like a plague, but it effectively ended up destroying the planet. And what had happened is, when you look back through the story, actually what had happened is when he'd gone into the future, he brought the starfish thing back with him.
Uh-oh.
So it's like, whoa. So that I like that as a young boy reading that stuff. So yeah, that kind of thing always fascinates me.
Yeah, it can be some of the
reverse effect. So.
Yeah. Well, so some of the best stories are when they can handle time travel right. And it's not always the case. It's not. Mitch,
no.
God. Mitch, you have an example of who handled time travel right?
Back to the Future 2. How clever was that? The way that they integrated it into the story of the first one, and had them messing backwards and forwards, and I thought that was really neat. I really enjoyed that.
It's well written. I like that.
Yes, well written. Yeah.
Mitch, what do you think?
One of my favorite examples of a great time travel story is probably A Sound of Thunder by Ray Bradbury.
Oh yeah.
If y'all don't know that one, that's the one where they go back in time and hunt dinosaurs.
Yes.
And someone accidentally steps on a butterfly.
Accidentally.
Yeah. And then they go back in time and it affects the future, so they have to keep going back to reset it.
It's the origination of the butterfly effect. Yeah.
Correct.
Right.
Didn't Homer do something like that as well?
Yeah,
I'm
they
sure
did.
he did.
Yeah, they did a spoof of it with The Simpsons. Great episode.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of thing. That's again another 2000 AD story which was similar to that was Flesh, where they went back to farm dinosaur meat, but things got very out of hand.
I can only imagine.
I'd imagine.
And
would have made a great Snake Plissken movie.
Yeah, wouldn't it?
Yeah. If he was the guy, hey, we're gonna wash your record clean, but you have to go back in time and figure out why they're not sending dinosaur meat up the chain anymore.
Escape from 65 billion BC. Right?
And I think we mentioned this, Randy, last time we spoke, and in fact, one of the craziest dinosaurs from the past ended up coming to the cursed earth of the future in the Judge Dredd stories.
And I don't even remember his name. I remember it was a red Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah. And it was
kind of maybe something like that.
Yeah, it was all warped around, and that was really cool as well.
Well, what happens is that the Snake Plissken type character ends up going back in time to figure out their meat shipment problem, only to find out that the dinosaurs are all sentient.
Oh. Oh, ouch.
There was an
ask for
episode where the spiders came and ate everybody, and that scared the living daylights out of me.
Was that a Judge Dredd? That was a Judge
No,
Dredd.
no, that was from Flesh. That
was
that was an episode in Flesh. Yeah.
No, there was a 2 or 3 part Cursed Earth story with Judge Dredd where they had a plague of spiders. That was
Ooh.
Who did that?
Spiders.
Was that Ron Smith? Ron something did the artwork on that. It was phenomenal.
Is it Ron Smith?
Unbelievable. I probably have the guy's name wrong, but I love his inking style. It's incredible.
Yeah. So,
There's all sorts of different time travel examples.
yeah, you just you completely messed it up over now. Now I'm thinking of the poor Jim Henson dinosaurs just being hunted down and taken for their meat.
Strip for their meat.
They should be hunted down. Every last
They should
one.
be hunted down. As a matter of fact, let me piggyback off of what you're saying, Russ. You know, like every dinosaur, new type of dinosaur, I don't know if it's like a new fetish thing that's on DeviantArt right now, needs to be hunted down. Right now. Because it's a lot on DeviantArt. Mitch Rogers, you have no reason to go to DeviantArt for any reason, my friend. But the way they draw dinosaurs, there's no reason to go back. But what they do to dinosaurs, right? They should be hunted. That's
when you
what
go
I'm saying.
when you go to DeviantArt, make sure you also visit MySpace and GeoCities because obviously you're going back in time.
Right?
And don't forget to use Lycos as your search engine. All right,
on your Commodore, yes.
On your Commodore or your Macintosh.
Your Macintosh, yeah.
And use Netscape for
they still make Macintoshes technically.
We're sorry.
I mean, technically, yeah.
Technically, they still make Macintoshes.
Yeah, it's a little technicality.
That's the downside of time travel.
Yeah. We've all been there. Is that right? See, we've all been there. You know,
there's so many things in this reality that you can blame time travel for. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Who knew J. Edgar Hoover was in women's clothes until somebody goes back in time and changes his closet out?
And changes his closet. Mm-hmm. Who knew that? Robert McNamara. He was a cross-dresser, and then he just go back in time and be like, "Oh,
he wasn't before, but he is now."
He is now. you damn too.
That expression cross-dresser always makes me imagine somebody getting up and putting their pants on and getting really upset. It just doesn't make any sense. Cross-dresser.
These pants. I can't believe it. I did it again. You know what I mean? They get really cross because those pants were just on wrong. They just
a little upset.
I just don't understand. I'm very naive.
But you said you brought up J. Edgar Hoover, but they had that I think it was a short story by Stephen King, but they did it as a Hulu series where the guy went back to stop the JFK assassination.
1963. Yes.
Yeah. Then he kind of comes back and finds out keeping JFK alive wasn't a good idea. JFK concentration camps or whatever. I'm like
JFK concentration camps.
Things never work out the way you've planned most of the time.
Just let things happen.
Best leave time alone.
Pretty much.
I mean, but where's the fun in that though? You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, if I were to go back in time, I suppose I'll segue into time travel. I learned about time travel not from comics or that sort of thing. I had
government
textbooks.
agency.
Government agency, right? Like they employed me as a government agent when I was like 5. Okay, so knee deep in this shit.
That's right.
But we had these astrophysics books. And we had textbooks, and I learned about time dilation theory. I learned about the theory of general relativity, et cetera, et cetera. And then when I was looking at shows like Star Trek, or you see Mystery Theater 3000, you see a lot of this other type of stuff. And then there's that logic side of my brain that kicks in, is saying, "Well, we can't really do," in the Doctor Who. And I said, well, we can't really, this is me, younger, long time. Well, we can't really do time travel because you have to have an infinite amount of energy and negative mass, and none of those exist. You know what I mean? That's me talking. So I was like, but even though there's no such thing as negative mass, we have antimatter, happens all the time at the top of Thunderhead clouds. You know what I'm saying? Just look it up. But we don't have negative mass, meaning mass that exists then stops existing. That doesn't exist. So, but that's a component that you need to go back in time, and we don't have that. But we do have this wonderful, wonderful exotic celestial object called a supermassive black hole. Not a black hole, supermassive black hole.
Supermassive.
Where only up until 1981, the scientific community thought that supermassive black holes, or black holes in general, were unicorns. Einstein, he proved them in his theories, right? But we had no observation. And then we had the Nobel Peace Prize winning, study that found supermassive black holes, generally the center of every galaxy. But what you can do in terms of going forward in time, it's so sick. If you can survive being close enough to a black hole, right, and not get over into its event horizon, you can stay there safely, right? And you'll look like this maybe for 50 years if you're from Earth. But to you, it's like you stayed near the event horizon for 10 minutes. And then 50 years has passed in space and time, because space and time are three-dimension space, X, Y, Z, and then time is your fourth dimension. So you can sit next to a supermassive black hole like the one in the Milky Way for 10 minutes. 50 years will pass on Earth and all the rest of time. And then when you go back to Earth, you'll be like, Jim, you're using too much just for men. What happened, Jim?
So basically,
you using
like
Viagra now? Jim, what happened?
It's like a cosmic cryogenic chamber.
Yeah, it's like
you would have to be able to find Earth first.
Yeah, you'd have to be able to find it.
Which means you'd have to figure out where Sol has moved to. So the sun has moved to.
Listen, if you could get yourself close enough to a supermassive black hole to check out for 10 minutes, you'd probably be able to find Earth on your way back.
Maybe.
You should be able to find it.
Maybe.
That's a good chance.
I heard a really interesting concept. It's to do with the fact that the double slit experiment within quantum physics, where effectively only by observing light or quantum particles do they actually come into reality via it's compacting the wave. Is it the
wave compression?
Wave compression. That's right. So you've got like this probability wave. You don't have real things at all.
Mm-hmm.
They're just probability waves until you look at them. Okay, right, which makes that the whole universe is pretty weird. Okay, so anyway, effectively what you're doing is you're looking out into space. So the idea of this double slit experiment that the light only becomes a photon, becomes a particle when you look at it, and a wave prior to that becomes very, very difficult to explain when you're looking at galaxies that are billions of light years away, and they're actually being there's something called gravitational lensing, which is effectively by something that's so massive that light goes round it and you can see beyond it because the light has gone round the gravity. Well, if you're only seeing the photon after you've observed it, if it only comes into existence after you've observed it, and you're observing light from 10 billion light years away because it went round a big gravitational object, which photon went left around it and which photon went right around it? So the concept being is that the whole of the existence, the whole of the galaxy, there's these things called tachyons, which you might have heard of in Star Trek quite a lot, which are theoretical particles that go backwards in time. So the idea being is that you get to the end of the universe, you get to the complete end of existence, and everything that has ever been observed along the way is transmitted backwards via tachyons. And that's what makes the universe. So it's kind of like a loop of time where effectively we're creating the universe in the future via backward traveling tachyon particles.
Right.
Pretty freaky stuff.
It's freaky stuff when you get to the quantum. The whole of quantum is disturbing. Like one physicist already said, if quantum physics doesn't bother you, that you haven't, really
you haven't understood anything.
I find the whole concept of quantum physics just mind-boggling and interesting.
Oh,
because it's a part of our reality. It's us. It's everything, right?
And of all of our scientific research, we've only really begun to understand maybe this much of quantum physics.
A
If
little
that,
bit smaller. Make it a little
Yeah,
bit smaller.
maybe.
There you
So
go.
I think I would apply closer to the quantum leap version of
yeah.
time travel than
Yeah.
the physical version, like
Than the
Doctor
physical
Who
version.
or Star Trek or whatever.
Just
Because
if
I
you-
think consciousness is outside of the physical reality. So effectively, you can drive your consciousness where it needs to go.
Where it needs to go. You can make a decision at that point because it's just like Zim brought up. You got to have a point of reference somewhere in the universe. Because if you're trying to time travel to some destination, well, do you know where you're going? Do you know how to establish a point of where you're going from point A to point B? Einstein called it spooky accident at a distance, right? So at the quantum level, it does this all the time. Like, like your grandma baking cookies on a Sunday. It's just that common. But we haven't been able to understand why doesn't Jupiter do that? You know what I'm saying? Why don't other planets like Jupiter? Why doesn't the galaxy do that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we come up with these theoretical particles like tachyons, like gravitons and stuff. So we can
dark
try
matter.
to make sense. Dark matter to try to account for what we observe. Because there's not enough matter in the universe to account for why the galaxies are hanging so close to each other. But that's another conversation. But in terms of time travel going forward, I agree with Russ Leach that on a quantum level, if we had the capacity to say, well, I'll say it like this: if you want to move your body, right, which contains about 4 trillion terabytes of data, the average human body contains about 4 trillion terabytes of data. That's a lot of data. I don't know any supercomputer on Earth that can transmit that, but on the quantum level, that's easy to do because we move volumes of information much larger than that in millions of seconds. That's how amazing the quantum physics is. But if you could do that for one person, you can establish by manipulating spooky action at a distance, putting yourself here, and you've already predetermined your other point in space and time. So all you had to do is just, boop, you're there. Almost like the beam me up, Scotty, but without, you just eliminate the whole physics part. You're just purely using the quantum elements, your quarks and your gluons and stuff. They said, we got you. Remember how we know how we're structured. All the instructions to make this person, we got it. It's the same over there. But how do we capture that? Don't know. Have no idea. It exists, but we don't know how to do it because we don't have an infinite amount of energy to manipulate 4 trillion terabytes of energy instantaneously. But hey, I'm looking at you, Jeff Bezos. I know you went to space to get away from your wife, but just hit me up, man.
Okay.
Just hit me up.
So
anyway.
with all this, so basically, we're kind of doubling down on the idea time is an illusion, right?
Yeah. Most of the universe we call it we call it holographic, right? So when the more you look at the exotic celestial bodies like supermassive black holes, and I always reference supermassive because they're the most that do the most to space and time. If you look at what happens to physical matter with a supermassive black hole, of course, we don't have a telescope or a rod or a yardstick to go and say like, okay, and you could poke it and see it. But theoretically, what we're saying is physical matter, once it gets across that event horizon, what happens to physical matter? Well, one portion of the matter becomes part of the black hole, but the information for what that physical matter wants is stored as a 2D surface. That's one theory. It's stored as a 2D surface on the black hole itself. So that would mean, that means the information that makes reality is like a flat plane. So it's almost like we're looking at a hologram. You see a baseball card, you flip it one way, and you see one image of it, and then you turn it a little bit. What do they call those cards? Holographic cards, right?
Yeah, holographic.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the idea. That's the school of thought, so to speak, about what our reality is. But it's on such a large scale that from day to day we can't perceive these effects of reality because it's too wide. Like gravitational waves. Gravitational waves happen all the time, but they're so large in amplitude that us on Earth, the solar system, galaxies, we don't feel it, but they happen all the time because this is on such a large scale of millions of light years across. You know what I'm saying? So, man, trying to go backwards in time, I would say if you want to do that, you encounter the grandfather paradox. If you stabbed yourself, right? Or if you, I mean, patricide. We're not advocating for this, folks. But if you just said like, "Hey, Dad, take the cyanide pill," you drop it in his tea, or Granddad or great granddad, you dropped it in his tea. Okay, would you cease to exist at that moment? And if you don't, that implies the existence of multiple universes,
or some
Russ.
kind of device, some kind of fail-safe procedure within the structure of reality that makes the cyanide pill not work. Bearing in mind that quantum is all about probability.
Well, see, I always figured if time travel were a thing, it'd be something that's already taken its effect consistently. It's not something that we would ever see change. It would be.
Well, no, I think that's what Hawkins was going on. Stephen
Yeah.
Hawking was saying. It's like
Correct.
if time travel exists, they're probably already here, and they're not going to let you know.
Yeah,
It's right. They're not going to. They're like cats. You know what I mean? If cats could talk, they wouldn't. That's
No, because they're assholes.
Because they're assholes. They smell like Brussels sprouts. To answer your question,
is that constant?
That's what happens when you get too close to a black hole. You turn into a cat.
you turn into a cat. See, we solved it, folks.
Yeah.
Actually,
the answer-
Einstein solved the trouble of time travel back in the 50s when he was at a party. Wrote it on the back of a couple of grocery bags, and the FBI's had it in seclusion ever since.
Well,
He was a little
right.
high at the time, so he wasn't able to replicate the formula.
The ninja's talking about you need to make time bend around you, but not bending you. And isn't that similar to I can't remember the name of the guy. It's a Spanish guy who came up with a warp bubble. So like Star Trek, a warp drive bubble.
And
And
not Verbing. That's
no, and they've pushed
that's Italian.
they've pushed it to a point now where apparently NASA were doing some research on something completely unrelated and ended up coming up with you talk about negative energy earlier.
Mhm.
They were coming up with a replacement for negative energy on it, and they reckon this warp bubble is actually something they might be able to make. So
Okay,
effectively,
NASA hit me up.
you can go around the whole problem with light speed, because effectively what you're doing is you're kind of stepping out of reality almost. You're bending reality around your spaceship and then just flicking it along and letting
That's
inertia
right.
do its thing.
Let inertia do its thing.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
have to worry about the time
No,
dilation. problem.
and inside
what
it's all just normal. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And-
yeah, and
and
then the
if-
space
if they
around you is
ever-
normal.
If they ever did do a warp bubble, how would they know it was successful outside of the fact that it just disappeared?
I don't know.
See, I'm
I-
trying to
yeah, we
recall
don't
it
know.
to see where it's been.
They said,
I
"Hey
didn't
man, can
ask
you bring
them.
that one back?"
Yeah.
You know.
So
Hey,
step
Joe.
out for a second and step back. See how many years
put
you've
out-
gone. Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
put
we
out an
think we've
APB on
warp
that
bubble.
one. You know.
Yeah.
Hold on.
You know,
Mitch, do you remember what you were going to say?
No.
Well, y'all see.
That's like Philadelphia experiment all over again, isn't it?
Yeah.
yeah, that's
They
what's
tried
up.
to make a warp bubble and
Yeah, and you
Well,
have
kind of
they
worked
tried-
and kind of didn't,
They
depending upon who
tried
you
to
talk
make
to.
it invisible,
Yeah.
and it apparently accidentally created this
Warp
shift
bubble.
in time and space where
Yeah.
the ship ended up somewhere else and people were halfway through walls.
Yeah,
and
that's what I was
things
going
like
to say. It sounds like he had arms and legs sticking out of the wall and stuff. So.
yeah.
that. At least that was what it was in the 1980s movie that I watched.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
The
well, the
answer.
story.
Go ahead, Mitch.
was the story was basically that came out. I can't remember the guy that said he was quote unquote a part of it, but yeah, it was. They were trying to do invisibility and shit got messed up.
There was a guy that said he was directly involved.
Yeah, I
that
cannot
was
remember
his
his name
story.
though.
A bit like the
cannot remember
Hangar
his-
13 film that's supposedly
Yeah.
based on some kind of leak from Area 51. But
Yeah, see, that's what I was going to
Either
mention.
Area
Because
51
everybody.
or the Los Alamos.
Yeah. Well, I've
lab.
seen
I
some-
met folks from that lab, by the way. Just saying, they're weird. Go ahead, see. No. Los Alamos. Back in my research days, I might as well because I put it out there. So I used to do some stuff with NASA. All right, NASA, just don't be mad. But it's not. Is it confidential? Whatever. I'm fucking.
Wait, hold on. Don't say something that's going to get us all killed.
Don't say anything that's going to get you into trouble.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't want.
or
I don't
just-
want
or
people to come
don't
into my
mention-
apartment in the middle of the house.
Don't mention the NDAs that you've had to sign with the CIA either. That would only get you.
I'm already in trouble for not killing my last target. All right, it's a package.
Okay.
Great. Now that he said that live.
Let me speed that up, and I just say that I just so happened to bump into some people that worked at Los Alamos National Lab. They were unusual. I'm saying that politely. I'm saying that they were unusual.
Yeah,
I was like, wow. You did? You just looked it up, Mitch?
Yeah, the guy that said he was a part of the Philadelphia experiment was named Carl Allen.
Carl.
Yeah.
That sounds.
I say there's a lot of them that come out. There was one guy I was seeing. He went back to the house that he supposedly went to the 1970s in. And they were talking to the lady, and he was describing certain things in the house. And he's like, "I've never been in your house before, right?" And she's like, "No." It's like, yeah, but she might have got a blueprint from the damn city hall.
There's been a number of notated time displacement.
Yes.
Happenings. Yeah. Most of them are drug induced.
Psychotropic hallucinogens, aren't they great? The what's the psilocybin? What is that? The happy mushroom.
Psilocybin.
It's another thing that can effectively disconnect you from reality. Something I heard the other day. They were talking about things like ayahuasca and I can't remember. Is it the stuff that Joe Rogan goes on about?
The
stuff from your
the DMT.
Yeah, DMT.
I can't remember the chemical.
Effectively, they did a study about hallucinogenic drugs, and what they were thinking with these hallucinogenic drugs were effectively making your brain light up, so that you effectively came up with all these illusions and visions and what have you. And actually, it's completely the opposite. These drugs are effectively deadening what's going on in your brain.
Suppressing the activity.
So the idea being is that, or the theory is that effectively what's happening is it's removing the veil of this reality so that you can see into a deeper one. Because your brain is effectively there's an antenna. It's an antenna. So your consciousness, your essence is other than reality. And everything that we work around it. This is like World of Warcraft or whatever. We're all just game players. We're avatars. And effectively we've got this antenna connection, which is why when you mess your brain up physically, it's like it's gonna mess with the connection. Which is why you can't do certain things. You chop half your brain out. You can't talk or something or move or whatever. But there's plenty of documented cases of children that have only half a brain, or even in some cases very little brain, and they're still operating in exactly the right way. Because as far as they're concerned, they're not aware that that's not there. So that signal's coming through strong, loud, and clear.
Yeah, right.
It's just another way of looking at it. But of course, if you look at it from that perspective, almost like we're in a matrix of some sort, then time travel becomes even more possible, because effectively, like the quantum leap thing, you're going to be more likely to be able to travel with your consciousness rather than physically trying to get around inside the matrix, as it were.
Right.
Correct.
Which has rules on it, like your refresh rate on your screen is the speed of light. So effectively, the reason that you can't go anywhere faster than the speed of light is because that's all the computer program can do. That's the limit.
Right.
That's one of the rule set. Yeah.
Like all the rules of thermodynamics, all the rules of relativity, all of those rules, which I'm glad they're here. Yeah. Otherwise, reality would be like a big shit show. But in terms of suppressing this awareness of the rules, like Neo was saying, well, there is no spoon, right? If you can get yourself to a state where, okay, there is no spoon, then your probability, and by the way, guys, when we're talking about probability from scale of 1 to 100, we're talking about maybe 2 point something. You got to reach out maybe 7 places to the right, 2.0001% probability increase, because we don't know. We don't have any way to measure it. We don't have any instruments. that can, capture this tangibility, like the split, like the electromagnetic wave in the particle experiment. But I want to quickly answer Ginkgo's question. He said, aren't black holes extremely hot? The accretion disk, if it's actively feeding, then that accretion disk is about 30 million kelvins or so, and the gases spin around the accretion disk near the speed of light, not the speed of light, closer to the speed of light. And so that's why it's so bright and hot and orange and white and stuff. But the surface of the black hole, we don't really know because it's blocked by the really hot accretion disk. So we can't make that measurement. So we can't make that determination.
Right. That's pretty hot. That's hotter than chili on chili night.
It's hotter than Farrah Fawcett in her days. You know what I'm saying?
Woohoo!
It's hotter than Megan Fox. Hot. That's hot, man. I mean, hotter than what was it, Tyra Banks? Ooh, boy. Growing up, I was like, damn, this is okay. So, and then I learned that day. I learned. You know what I'm saying? Watching VH1. Anyway, we want to invite.
You can go back in time.
We can go back in time. We want to invite our good friend and comrade JD Calderon to the panel. Good evening to you, sir.
JD, who are you, sir?
Who are you?
I'm good. I was like, I'm sorry I was running a little late. I thought you guys were gonna wait for me. What the fuck?
No. Time waits for no one.
Time waits for no one.
That's it.
Go ahead and introduce yourself. Let everybody know who you are.
Please.
Damn, I gotta do that too. All right.
Yeah, you gotta do
I'm the writer creator of the Oswald Chronicles, Tall Tales Online. And I have a Kickstarter currently running. Got another 13 hours in that sucker. So go run on over to Kickstarter. Go support it for the Oswald Chronicles. Thank you so much. What's up, Russ? Nice to meet you, Mitch.
Hi, JD.
Randy, what's up? Stone.
Good evening.
Always good to see you, sir. Mr. Michael, it's coming. That's all I have to say. It's coming.
Yeah, okay.
But hey, JD, I already have.
Boom. Yes.
Yeah. All right.
That's why he was gone last week and why there are no longer any pictures on his wall.
The pictures, you see, they're all gone.
He ruined them.
They're all destroyed. I got some more in the mail. Don't worry about it.
Get the new ones laminated though.
Yeah. That's
easy cleaning. There you go.
Right. Not to change the subject, but to change the subject. Our existence is vibration that holds us to this reality. Is that
That's right.
Ginkgo, there's some truth to what you're saying. And our existence is really empty because between the molecule of the space between the electron shell and the nuclei is empty space. So a lot of reality is just empty, at least in terms of physical matter. But the predominant source of matter / energy in the universe is dark energy. We're swimming in it. We're like fish, unaware of an ocean that we're swimming in, and we don't understand why it's doing it. We observe the effects of it, like say the galaxy, Sombrero Galaxy, is speeding away from Earth at 700 miles per second. For whatever. And then the next galaxy, 10 million light years away, is speeding away from Earth at 750 miles per second. Everything is speeding away from each other at this, these predetermined distances all the time. So Stephen Hawking was like, we might get to a big. Well, I was like, big what? Speak up, Stephen. He was like, it's like the big cool. I'm like, the big cool, the big freeze. So Stephen, before he died, he was like, well, everything's just going to spread out until all the molecules stop their electronegative activity, and we have no more radioactivity, and the universe just goes to absolute zero, which is negative 472 centigrade, I believe. So at 0 degrees Kelvin, what's that?
Penrose, Sir Roger Penrose came up with because originally before the Big Bang, they were talking about effectively a galaxy, a universe that could expand and then under its own weight, under its own gravity, come back into a big crunch.
Come back. That's the big crunch.
Which is becoming a bit more popular now. But Penrose came up with the idea that effectively, as we expand ever further and stretch apart,
as we keep getting fatter,
and we stretch so far that effectively there is no mass anymore. And once you lose mass, you lose time. You can't have clocks without mass. And once you lose time, you lose distance. And once all the distance and all the mass and all the time has gone, infinitely small is the same as infinitely large. And effectively, you have another Big Bang.
Boom. And so the cycle, it's like the great circle of life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're not talking about that cycle for those listening at home, so please don't try to cancel us, all right? But we're talking about there's periodicity. Russ, let's use periodicity.
Periodicity. I like that.
Even that could sound wrong.
Damn it.
Wow. No,
Randy.
Hey, you wonder why I can't get moving on this show. Damn it.
Listen, all I heard was Big Bang, period.
Even that could sound wrong.
Swimming, certain things, moving away at great speeds, so
Vibrating at great speed.
Exactly, vibrating. These are the key words that I heard.
Supermassive black hole.
You missed the black hole in the
There you go.
Superman.
Exactly.
All of the Beavises and Buttheads out there are snickering under their while they're listening. It's a Big Bang.
I can see her things.
I want to see a Big Bang too.
All right.
Me too. You think old Big Bang?
I knew I could come in and derail the show. I just knew I could do it.
No, you better stay. No, you came at the right time. We got an hour and 5 minutes left. No, JD, you're staying.
No. I was saying I could come in and derail. I mean,
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm not going
All right, we were already talking about theoretical quantum physics, so you can't derail anything. It's already derailed.
It's already there.
You can't make
already
it
there.
worse.
Yep.
Got you.
All you can do is come in and just join in on the conversation and wonder if Russ's whiskey has hit him hard enough
I was
yet.
just about to go and get some more, actually.
There we go.
Nice.
Wow.
But just as C was saying about time travel, sorry, what we were saying earlier, C, it's like this is all so fertile, so much of it. You have to go and research. If you want to write something, if you want to create something, go find stuff out. Go and research. Don't just sit. It's no good to just read other comics or other works of creation. Okay, of creative arts. Go find out stuff as well. Go get a life. Go find things and be interested in stuff.
Go get a life. That's a hashtag.
Build your own goddamn time machine. Yeah.
Build your own. Yeah, don't
There
ask
you go.
us. Get your own.
Get your own.
But if you are going to write about time travel, the best thing to do, because if you're going to write about going back in the past, you not only have to learn the science behind it, you got to learn history too. So if you're going to write about time travel, stick to the science and go to the future. Just
just make it, and you can make it up. It's great.
That's fine.
You got some warlocks. You got some,
we got some elves. Man, in the future, man, if we can get listen, guys, this is great. Let's put together a time travel machine, and then we can finally get those chocolate space elves. You know what I mean? Like the one that's in my story. They're out there. You know how many galaxies are in the universe? Hundreds of billions. Dear God, how many solar systems? What's that, JD?
Hold on, stop.
Yeah.
If chocolate elves actually exist in reality, they'd be extinct in no time flat in this country. This is a country of fat people that loves chocolate. They would not live for long at all, okay? I'm just saying.
Yeah, thanks for chopping my hopes down at the knees, JD. Thank you.
No problem.
Somebody already admitted time travel and got to all the chocolate elves. That's what the
it's already happened. So we missed
they
that.
were American.
And they were, in Iowa or somewhere. You know what I mean?
Somewhere. Anyway.
Have you guys been to Iowa? Don't. You have no reason to go to Iowa. Right?
I've been to Iowa.
I've never been.
You never been? No, don't.
I drove through
That's
Iowa.
You drove through Iowa. You didn't stop. I hope you did. Well, it's for gas.
I drove through Nebraska too. That was just as exciting.
It was thrilling. Don't stay in Iowa. All right. And then I understood why we got the band Slipknot when I stayed in Iowa. So Iowa is Wyoming real? Is Idaho real?
Wyoming is real. I've been to Wyoming.
You've been in Wyoming? Okay.
Yeah.
But nobody's.
Besides, I had to drive through Nebraska to get there.
Look at
that. Wyoming's real, but you never met anybody that's from Wyoming.
I've never.
They don't leave.
It's only real when you observe it.
That's because there's so few people there to start with. Same thing with Montana.
Like photons and light.
Yeah, Montana. Yeah, it's like photons. Yeah. I never met a person from there. But hey, when Yellowstone blows up, we'll be like, well, where was Yellowstone located? Oh, it was real after all. I'm not asking for
You've
Yellowstone.
Never been to Yellowstone?
No, I haven't. I missed that opportunity. to visit Yellowstone National Park, but I'm
Shame
trying
on
to make
you.
a plan. Yeah, I know. Double shame on me because I missed 2 opportunities actually. See?
Oh,
This is me
I've been
being
there.
honest.
I've been there twice. It's interesting. You want
Twice?
to talk about time travel?
Man.
You're going back in
Man.
time right there, right then, because the way
That's
the
so
national
cool.
park is made up, they've tried to preserve everything as much as possible. It's fascinating
That's
as hell
man.
when you get around those pools and they look so wet until the ranger comes up there and goes, "Hey, a human being can boil in one of them pools in 2 seconds."
Don't give me any ideas.
That's why they have pads. Yeah. Okay.
It'd be a real shame if you step too close.
Yeah, it'd be a real shame.
Every couple of years or so, there's a news item of somebody who wanted to go swimming. You
Yeah,
know?
there's some spelunker or whatever. They want
No, some young kid who says, "I don't have to stick on the path," that just steps off into one of them sulfur pools and finds out how fast it is. You know.
Well, but you say that kind of thing, but you know what? You ever see that, and it's like
I don't ever want to see that.
No. Information 411, I think, is where it talks about kids that are there with their parents 1 second and they're missing, and they find them across like these national parks.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like there is absolutely no way they could get there. It's just insane.
I'm not saying it's aliens.
It's scary.
But it's aliens.
If they stood on one of those geezers, it'd just like throw them.
Yeah, right.
It's so these kids running onto the geezer and like
that would be interesting. Yeah.
It could be the open portal in time. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like a
They might be
wormhole.
there.
Because there are places in these national parks, these rangers will not let you go. So it's kind of like,
Then that's the places that we need to go.
That's
Located.
where they keep their drugs.
You know, the working theory also is that there's little portals all over those national parks too. So that's why there's some
Maybe why
places
they're
that are
national
secluded.
parks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, if Uncle Sam doesn't want us to go there, I'll be like, "Yo, Uncle Sam, hey, I know a guy. His name is Uncle Ben. All right, so hey, just let me through." See the Uncle Ben, the rice guy. I'm sorry, that was a poor joke.
he's not. I don't know.
That
him
went
anymore.
right over everybody's head.
You'd have
Yeah,
to.
That was a particularly bad one that I enjoyed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Spider-Man's deceased cousin. I mean, uncle.
No.
We're comic
Not
guys.
that
What
one.
do you want?
The only comic book character to stay dead.
Yeah.
Uncle Ben.
Right.
It's
I'm
Uncle
expecting him to come back as Galactus though.
Ben. You think he'll? What if he comes back as Dark? No, Darkseid is DC.
I would say don't say that out loud, but Marvel's not creative enough to take that suggestion and actually use it.
True.
Marvel creativity. I almost get diarrhea when I hear those words together.
Hi, I'm going to sit on a lamppost. That'll be iconic. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's great.
Anyway.
Good job, Marvel. I had this other idea.
I totally missed that reference, but yeah, go ahead.
Miss
No,
Marvel.
I had this-
everybody missed that reference. It's okay. Nobody
it's
needs
all right.
to see that reference.
Nobody needs to see it.
I'm coming for you, New York. I got you. I think I got you. All right.
The
go
ninja
ahead.
again sums it all up. Iowa.
Yeah.
Iowa. Yeah, buddy. Iowa. I mean, look, everywhere you go, everywhere you drive, it smells like horse's ass. Okay. Is this?
Oh
weird
no!
TVMA?
Come on, be nice.
No, look.
No.
I just. took
I've
this
been to
down,
Iowa.
guys.
It
Did you
smells
just-
like horse's ass. Yeah, that's great.
I was in Iowa before. Yeah,
Now, what
it
did you
smelled like-
have to say about time travel again, Stone?
Anyways, time travel. Back to time travel. All right. So I said there's one day in 2013 there was some supercomputing conference or whatever, and I asked some nice scientist that was presenting things. I was like, "Well, hey, you know, some folks out there worried about Skynet, all right, about self-aware systems and that sort of thing." I said, "But do you think that we could take advantage of this powerful AI so we can rip ourselves a wormhole, or I said at least a local teleportation portal?" I said, "Do you think that could be generated with the computing resources we have currently on the planet?" And then he stopped. He was like, I never thought about that. And I hope he's okay. I hope he's okay. He never directly answered my question. You know what I'm saying?
You might never see him again.
I might never see him again. It's been 9 years, and I haven't gotten an email from him or anything.
Flowers, nothing.
10 years from now, there's a
Nothing.
knock on your door, and the guy
There's
looks
a knock on
exactly
my
the
door?
same.
It's
The guy goes, "Hey,
You're
I
right.
think time travel's real, dude.
I think it's real. We did it.
I think it worked."
What's
Here are those
crazy-
flowers I owe you.
What's crazy is
Read the card.
See, go ahead. Sorry.
no, what's crazy is listening to you because when you're trying to think of something and you're like trying to find clips for the time travel thing, I was like, okay, I know there's a whole bunch out there, but I just can't think of a whole of them. Now, listening to y'all this morning or this afternoon, evening, whatever it is, I've lost track
It's
of time.
middle of the night. It's Iowa. It's Iowa.
Russ has
Gone to
Russ
Iowa.
thrown me off. Yeah,
He's
right.
in Iowa right now.
But do you remember there was a movie called Millennium where they were basically plane crash? If a plane was going to crash, they'd go and they'd grab everybody off.
Yes. Wow.
It's
It's been a while.
Well, you brought
Wonderful advert for smoking.
Huh?
Wonderful advert for smoking, as I remember.
Yeah. Great.
Isn't that the one with Chris Christopherson?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I think I couldn't remember who was in it, but yeah. I mean, it was so many years ago. 89, 90.
And they did the whole paradox thing where it all sort of destroyed itself at the end.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because they were bringing them to the future where they were, or to their present. But something ended up happening, and they ended up having to send them further into the future, or
something like that. Yeah, it was a weird film.
It was
I
weird.
think that the reason, if I'm remembering it right, the reason why they took the people from the planes that were going to crash was they were destined to die, so them not being around wouldn't matter.
Yeah, it didn't change the timeline. Yeah.
And I think someone accidentally got transferred to the future, and that was enough to upset the time continuum. I have to watch the movie again, but I think that's it.
I saw that in the movie theater, so it's been a while. But it's just, and it's crazy the stuff that comes up. And now you say that, I realized that so basically Loki ripped that off. So somebody over there watched that. But so Randy, what do you think? Loki, I'm sorry.
I haven't either.
Oh, good for you. I wish I could go back in time and not see it. Anyway.
Anyway.
You're not going to get that time back, are you?
Yeah, right.
Nuh-uh.
I'll tell you what.
Wait, you didn't like
Ladd
Loki,
was
or-
in that. I'm
No, I
looking
was
it
not
up
a
right
fan of
now.
Loki.
Robert Joy, Daniel Travanti was in it.
Yeah, the Millennium movie?
Millennium?
Yeah. I can't say I've ever seen it.
I remember a robot.
It might just be that memorable, though. I don't know.
when they're a robot in it.
I saw a lot of movies back during that period. It come out
Then
in
you always had to have a cheeky robot.
1989.
Yeah, especially 89, between that period and early 90s.
Yeah.
You needed a cheesy robot.
There's nobody here credited as being cheeky robot. So
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
Go get him, Buck.
Yeah, it kind of came out at that at that
from a
time. in the,
John Varley short story called Air Raid.
Yeah.
it kind of came out at that time, mid '80s, where they were constantly making science fiction movies with a medium budget and a big star.
Yeah. It was a great time.
Oh,
I'm just saying, 80s sci-fi, bro.
Yeah.
It's just Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Since we're talking about time travel.
Well,
Since we're talking about time travel. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because you brought up Skynet. The fact that time travel is not a huge proponent of that, but yet it is. It's crazy.
On Terminator, time travel's essential. It's key.
It's essential, absolutely. But it wasn't a focus on, we're time traveling. You had a robot from the future to save, mankind. But
to destroy mankind. We were in the future.
Well,
depends on which Terminator you watch.
Yeah.
You said T2, damn it. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, I did say T2. I did. I'm going to watch it later.
Well, T2 was the better one, so
it was. Let's just think about that one. Do we have to roll some bumps?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and roll some bumps real quick. Take a break.
Okay.
I'm going to go and get more whiskey.
Yep.
See, up, folks. Okay, come right back, because our boy Russ Leach is going to get more. How do you say, inebriated?
That's right.
You want to stick around for that?
We're going to take some time.
Oh yeah.
Be right back. All right. So if you have a crowdfunder and you're shipping out some comic books, one of the best ways to do that is using the Gemini mailer. I've gotten a few of these. It's fantastic. I haven't had any damaged ones. So if you want to do that and you have a crowdfunder and you need to send out some stuff, go and save 5% on your next Gemini mailer order. All you have to do is go over there, use the coupon code RAGIN2, and get yourself some 5% off, because those things, that's going to cost you.
That's right. Yeah, you can throw them like frisbees. They still hold
also,
up, baby. It's all gravy, baby.
If you can't get enough of us on here, check us out on Facebook for Dispatches from Outside the Box. Go over there and like the page. If you have any questions, also send it dispatches from outside the box at gmail.com. That's dispatches from outside the box at gmail.com. I might come up with a shorter one later on. And don't forget to like. Yeah, right. Please send us a message. Then, of course, like and subscribe, share, hit the bell icon, tell your friends, go down the street, knock on a neighbor's house, be a Jehovah's Witness for the Raging Broadcast Network, and make sure you tell your friends, whatever you do. Anyway, we're back.
Be a Jehovah's Witness. Yeah. And have a great day while you're doing it.
There you go.
And have a great day, you know. Small story. There was a knock on my door after I came back from Knoxville, and it was past 6 o'clock. And I was like, okay, this can't be a Jehovah's Witness. And I said, but you never know. Times are hard. So when you know it, there's some new Baptist church encroaching on their territory. So when you know it, this past Saturday, Jehovah's Witness came by in the middle of the day where I anticipated. And I was just like, whoa, let me stop you there, Chief. I said, before you start, I said, let me tell you something. I said, I know it's Easter, but I said, there's a local Baptist church that's getting started, and they gave me this card. So I said, they're encroaching on your territory. You might want to go and address that. I closed the door.
A turf war?
Yeah. I was like, because it's fun. Look, after 2020 and everything else, I was just like, well, why not? We got turf wars over everything else. I want to have church wars. Turf, church, it rhymes.
Yeah,
so church wars.
You're not thinking this through, because what that means is you're going to have a lot more knocks on your door.
Yeah. See what I do.
Pretty soon, Mormons will be involved.
Right.
Oh, yeah. The guys with the ties, and the white shirts that ride the bicycles. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
And then you never know. Maybe Quakers and Amish. You never know.
Oh, man.
See, what I do is I have a copy of the Satanic Bible just for church people that come by and try to, get to do stuff. I'm like, oh, let me tell you about my Lord and Savior, and then they never come back. So.
I should just give them.
This is the third time I've had to throw this up, just to let you know.
Yes, the disclaimer is running.
It's there.
I've only usually once a show, but now it's like the third time's the charm.
But hey, we're keeping you busy. See, you should love us. You're burning calories.
So the ninja says there's a tunnel that slows down when you go through it in China.
You've been there? Did you take pics, or you lying? All right.
Yeah, but you see that, and of course you can't believe almost anything.
I believe everything on the internet. The internet tells me what to do.
You do see those videos where the car is turning, there's nothing on the other side of the car, and then the car suddenly shows up.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. And there's in fact, I don't know if this is the tunnel they're talking about, but supposedly there's a tunnel that when you go, you see them go down it, and then another car will show up right in front of it, and there'll be a wreck. And I'll have to look it up and see.
They never heard of headlights?
No, it's weird the one I saw, I think it was like a one-way tunnel, and the other one it was like an ambulance or something. I don't. But who knows if it's real? You never know. You can't ever.
You never know.
I wish they put these things on cars that have lights on them, so when you're going through dark tunnels, you can see where you're going and see other cars too.
Man, no.
They should make those. They should make.
Is that for safety? Is that for safety? Or are you saying we should? No, safety.
Well, no, but see, that's the thing. It's like
Screw that.
It's traveling down the tunnel. Well, you can see everything.
You know, even suggesting that you're probably spoiling somebody in the Department of Transportation's fun.
Yeah. They're sitting there with those CCT.
We don't light
monitors.
that tunnel up on purpose. We want to see how Darwinism works.
We want to see. It's entertainment. Just like starting turf wars between church. It's
Darwinism doesn't work. Okay. Just look at politics. These people continue to breed. Most of them wouldn't be able to run away from the lion faster than I could. Okay. It's not evolution.
It's not evolution. But listen, guys, just
pack it in.
Quote Russ. It's not. If you still think, like, say in the future, time travel, maybe 30 years from now, not that far away, and if we still treat politicians like you walk in the strip club like this, and you think that stripper is really into you, right? Like, this stripper really likes me, and you still have that understanding about politicians, boy, you deserve to get hit by a car in the future, not right now.
Yeah.
In the future, right? I'm not wishing any bad on anybody. An electric car, a smart car. One that it produces zero emissions.
Oh crap!
Are we what? Are we off of Facebook? Is that what you said?
I said, are we streaming to Facebook? I said, crap.
We are. We're streaming to Facebook.
That's it. That's be my first fan.
Elon's watching us right now.
Hey, Elon, what's up,
Elon's
dude?
too busy worried about Twitter.
It's $3 billion.
Yeah.
So, Jenny, I asked these guys before you showed up, what they thought what story handled the best writing time travel. What do you think? They said Back to the Future too. Most of them.
Okay.
At least Russ said it, and a lot of.
Well, I said it.
You did, and then I agreed.
I'm a little confused about my maths as to whether I actually am most of them, but I don't think so.
You know what? I'll go out on a limb. Star Trek 4.
Really? Wow.
The best time travel story?
As far as stories go, I'm not going to talk about math and mechanics. I'm talking about
yeah.
I like that film.
I like Save the Whales. There you go.
Yeah.
Save the Whales.
Okay.
That is
Save the Whales.
Yeah, that is. I like that film. I shouldn't like that film, but I do. Like
yes.
Yes. That's how
in case you didn't see her in the back, she's sitting there doing this. So.
Oh, okay.
I said time travel. You mean slingshot around the sun? Get that old chestnut. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Oh, well, we just have to make the planet go backwards, right?
And the Klingon
Superman
bird
did that.
yet. There you go.
If you run around really, really quickly, you can make everything go backwards.
Yeah.
It won't affect the tides at all or anything, you know.
No,
it won't cause earthquakes. It'll just, time will just go in reverse.
You might shake a
only
little
for
bit.
you.
You might.
That's all.
Yeah, only for you. Yeah. You might feel a slight breeze, but it'll die down after about 10 seconds. You're fine. You know what I mean?
This, as much as we love those old films like Superman and what have you, it's like whoever was writing that didn't do any research whatsoever, did they? There was no science in that at all.
No, but it made for a great scene in the movie.
It was great.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You can kind of get so scientific that you kind of miss the wonderment in the.
Yeah, even as a kid, I kind of looked at that and went, "That's not how it works."
That's a bit odd.
Could have been a great running gag, though.
You know what I mean?
A little late, then a little later, a little later, a little
later. Yeah. But speaking of retrograde, if I may, I asked NASA. I'm not going to say any names and I was like, "Hey,
classified.
Guys,
it's all right."
Yeah. And I said, "Guys, what about this retrograde in Mercury?" And then there was about 7 people in the room. They laughed. I said, "Now, why are you laughing?" They said, "Oh, you're talking about that astrology thing." I'm like,
your fly's undone. Sorry.
I was like, "Well, I've got a BBC, so thank you guys for telling me late." So, but basically, what we were talking about in terms of time travel, and we
If you
kind
were-
of mentioned that.
If you were talking to them last week, they would have laughed at you anyway and say, "Screw Mercury, let's talk about Neptune." Holy crap!
Holy freaking smokes! Neptune has a great spot, but all I wanted to address, folks,
I
is
didn't
that
mean to
there's no
throw
such
you off
thing.
your point, though. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're fine, Randy. The only thing that we clarified in that room was that the planet never goes into a physical retrograde. It doesn't. You see it all over socials. And to piggyback on what you were saying earlier, see about stuff on the internet. And since we're talking about some science and time, so the concept about Mercury going to retrograde and this sort of synchronicity between us as human beings and this unseen tangent and planets is that Mercury goes into retrograde, and somehow that impacts your ability to perform, or it impacts your hormonal secretions. Okay, well, the problem is there's this thing called velocity differential, where, say, for example, you're on the highway and you're going, 60 kilometers an hour. And you look at the hubcap beside you and you see that the little spokes are going forward, but for a little bit, it seems to go in retrograde, right? This is an illusion by two moving objects at differing velocities. It could be solved by a simple distance equation, okay, over a square root. So anyway, what you observe in space is the same phenomenon. It's an illusion. Mercury never spins in retrograde, not even for a tenth of a second. It just goes so fast around the sun that sometimes with our position with respect to the sun and Mercury, we're like, is that thing spinning backwards? It's not. That's an illusion. So just like we were saying here with reality as a mirage or a holograph with respect to a black hole, we see little signs of this in simple observations like Mercury going to retrograde. So I'm sorry to all the white girls that are basing their personality off of that. But that's been scientifically disproven since, Galileo.
It's only since Galileo. So,
only since. And that was, and he was lucky enough that the church didn't burn him. So shout out to Galileo, and Copernicus.
Our friend Mark over there, it came from the radio, says, I love time travel. Did you touch upon the film primer? Or do I have to travel back in time to find out that I missed it?
That was a great movie.
I don't.
Have you ever seen it?
I haven't seen that.
It was.
You got to speak.
It's these two engineers that are trying to create a device that lessens mass.
Okay.
So you can, and they're like specifically trying to make it for air travel. So you can have more luggage than you're charged for. And something happens. Someone, I forgot why, but he gets in it and comes out and he finds out that he's like a day up. He's gone back in time a day. So he starts using it to play the stock market.
Oh,
he'll read the paper and I'm gonna see what the stocks are. Go back in time, and I'm gonna do it that way. Then his friend finds out about it, and it kind of becomes like a war between the two. Like what can we really use it for?
It gets really messed up, doesn't it?
Yeah. And it deals with they can't. They realize they can't run into their old selves, like physically. So they try to do all these like neat tricks to not be in the same room as their past counterpart. So they'll like leave notes and stuff for each other, and it's a really, really good movie.
Sounds interesting.
That was a good film. Yeah.
It was very low budget too.
Yeah.
Which was surprising for what it was.
Sometimes those low budgets, they do the most. They can pull off the most creativity. You know what I mean? That they work with resources they got. I gotta watch it. I haven't seen it. I love the premise.
It was a good film, and it was a bit of a shock when I watched it, because I remember it now, watching it and thinking, this is a bit crap. But actually, I was like this. It ended up completely pulling me in, and I had to watch it right until the end. It really good writing and acting. Who knew?
Who knew?
That would be good,
It came from the radio. Says it's, in my humble opinion, the best time travel indie film that does not talk down to the audience. It's very good.
Yeah, it's hard to find those kind of films now.
Oh yeah, anything, not just time travel. So where are we going to go with time travel now? Has everything been done? Can we come up with new stories with time travel?
That's only limited by your imagination.
Yeah.
And by the creative people that use that as a device. I mean,
it's only limited by the Mandela effect.
That too.
Nice.
Well, we were talking. What was it, Sunday? I think it was about Journeyman. If you haven't seen Journeyman, I love that series. Absolutely, it came out in 2007. Got caught in the writer's strike, but the whole premise behind it was that they were taking a guy and yanking him back in time in order to change the time stream. Somebody was. They never explained who it was or how it was happening. So one day he gets into a cab and there's a bright light and suddenly he's like 6 years in the past. He sees a guy who's surrendering himself to a trolley car. It's in San Francisco. It's about to run him over. He runs up and stops him. And then they have a talk about life. And then there's a bright light and he wakes up in the middle of the night in somebody's cab. And it's present day.
That, man. I've got to watch. That's 2 movies I got to see.
No, this was a TV series. It ran
TV
13
series.
episodes. Yeah, it was. Okay. I got it here on IMDb. Kevin McKidd was the main character.
Did they finish it?
They did, which was really cool because they got caught up in the writer's strike, like I said, and there were a couple of months leeway there between episodes. And the cool thing about the show is that it was one continuous timeline. There's stuff that starts in the first episode that payoffs in like the 3rd or 4th episode, as the guy who's married had a gambling problem, tries to convince his wife and his brother that he's not going out on benders. He's actually being pulled back in time. And they're like, yeah, right. Okay. Yeah.
Sure, buddy. Sure.
And then he keeps having it happen all the time. He's being yanked back and forth and back and forth. He's in the second episode. He just bought a new car. He's driving it through the streets of San Francisco. Bright light comes up. Suddenly nobody's driving the car. Car turns up crashing. They think he was out on a bender.
Wow.
And actually he got pulled back in time. And in the meantime, he's going back in time and he's trying to figure out what it is he's supposed to do back there because he wants to go back to present day. The problem is he goes back in time and he starts running into his old fiance who happened to pass in a plane accident.
Oh, wow.
Well, come to find out, she is from the 1940s, and she had been getting yanked back and forth in time.
Oh, wow.
and
this had a conclusion.
Oh, yeah. And she also was being pulled back and forth and back and forth. Well, that, like I said, they got pulled up into the writer's strike. And and like I said, there's one big continuous timeline because he's trying to tell his wife, I ran into my old fiance while I was back in time. And she's like, you did? What the, all this. She doesn't believe him through like 3/4 of the 13 episodes. And his brother finally figures out, because his brother's a detective, finally figures out that there's more happening than him going off on benders. And eventually he accepts the fact that he's actually jumping in time. He tracks down a physicist who had written some papers on something like that aspect. And the guy told him in a mysterious way that he didn't want to talk to him. He needed to shut up and he needed to leave. And he was being watched by other people or whatever. And they never really fully explained it because they only had a certain amount of time to go.
Certain amount of time, yeah.
By the 13th episode, Kevin Falls is the guy who wrote it. He's the same guy who did, I think it was Wonder Falls is what he wrote in. Anyway, he's got a large producing credit list. But he did this for NBC. I was hoping it would pop back up on Peacock, and I haven't seen it pop back up yet. It used to be on Amazon Prime last time I watched it. But in the 13th episode, the main character wakes up in an asylum. And there's another guy there who runs up to him and goes, you've been traveling back and forth in time. And he's got a notebook that he hands him and says, here, that you might learn something from this. And he goes bouncing off because it's time for his medicine. We'll come to find out he was having the same problem, and he cured it by taking drugs. Once he took enough psychotropic drugs, he stopped getting yanked back and forth in time.
That's a message right there. That's a message.
See that, kids? Say perhaps to drugs.
Yeah. And so he ends up taking the book and reading it, and the farther along the book goes, the more static his writing becomes. And the crazy guy has theorized that you're being yanked back and forth in time for a reason. and that it's to stop some big catastrophic event that happens in the timeline. But the way that you do that is you don't stop the big catastrophic event. You stop all of the little tiny events that lead up to it. And that changes the catastrophic event. So him saving the guy from the trolley car was supposed to happen. Him doing, and then he goes around and every time he's back in time, he's looking for why he's there, on top of trying to avoid himself, back when he was partier, trying to avoid his current wife, trying to avoid his fiance who keeps looking for him, because they both eventually get together and start comparing notes. She's being yanked forward, he's being yanked back. There's got to be a reason for all of this happening. And the last time she was yanked forward, she stayed for like 6 months because obviously she didn't cure whatever she was supposed to cure. That's when she got involved with Kid, or with the main character. And then something happened while she was on the plane. She had the bright light and she ended up going back to her time period. And she, there comes a time when whatever's happening to you is done and they just leave you at your starting point. And then in the last, like I said, the last episode, he finds the guy, and then he finds the crazy guy. He gets yanked back in time again, and he gets yanked back to the very first time in the pilot that he gets yanked back in time. He avoids himself and he watches the light happen and all of this. But eventually he convinces his wife. And the way the series ends is he figures out, he starts getting this weird feeling before he goes. It's the middle of the night. He gets this weird feeling, gets up, gets dressed, is sitting in a chair, calls to his wife who's laying in bed, and his wife watches him as he bleeps out and goes back in time to fix whatever he's supposed to fix. But the last episode is so awesome because they figure out, he talks to that physicist guy again, and he goes, well, I couldn't talk to you because we were all being watched, but if this is happening to you, there's probably a reason. That's pretty much all he says, and then he leaves. But it's really a tight show. I wish they would show it someplace on a regular basis.
And remember, kids, don't take drugs. Don't buy drugs. Be a pop star. They give them to you for free.
Yeah. But every episode furthered the plot, which was really cool. It was kind of like watching one continuous story split up. It's like modern streaming almost.
That sounds
This happened back in 2007.
There was one that was a time-based one where there was apparently a meteorite, and they had this quantum computer, and it sent everybody back, and it sent people back only their brains. It sent their essence back in time, a bit sort of quantum leapish, to the point where the person in the past died.
Oh,
so that they weren't taking that person's life. That person died, but their body remained intact. So they might have died from an embolism or heart attack or something like that. And they were ported into their bodies, and from there they could do the work. And effectively, what they had to do was find a way of making the asteroid sort of go off course. I can't remember what the name of that was. Perhaps the
Flatliners.
Was that an English show?
No, that was a film, wasn't it? I don't know.
Was it?
No, Flatliners was
that was a movie.
They were Kevin Bacon and
yeah, they were experimenting with death. Yeah, they would kill their college mate in order for them to see the light and see if they saw the afterlife.
I think they kind of got to where they were investing each other's time. And
yeah,
that sounds fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it sounds like a party.
Party.
Yeah.
Talking about. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh. No, go ahead.
Talking about the big events versus little events kind of reminds me of. Cannot remember the name of the episode. There's an episode of Twilight Zone with the actor that played the professor in Gilligan's Island. Mm-hmm. He's in like a club or something, and they're talking about, can you change the past if you go back in time? And they're arguing and stuff, and then he leaves and walks outside, and it's the date that Abraham Lincoln's supposed to be shot.
I remember.
Yeah, and he finds out that he couldn't stop Lincoln from being assassinated, but the cop that he told, Lincoln's going to die tonight, the cop was running around trying to warn everyone. He changed the outcome to where that guy ended up like starting a detective agency afterwards, and the guy who was the doorman of the club originally is now like the owner of the club or something. So it's like that one little small change. That was a good episode.
That was damn good.
Cannot remember the name of the episode though.
Yep. I've seen it like once, but it was a while ago. I remember that.
Well, that's kind of like those things, like in Doctor Who, where you have those fixed moments in time that you cannot change.
Right.
Where, I mean, I would think Lincoln's assassination is probably one of those, right? So,
what was it?
That sucks, but
yeah, it's one of those. I guess that's where you have to look at. We mentioned earlier in terms of these time paradoxes, right?
Yeah,
is how much of a particular effect, how much can you affect if you were to go back in time that would produce some outcome in the future, and what would be its magnitude, right? So I think one of those principles, and we're just talking science fiction, right? And just purely upon science fiction. Hey, you're up here twice, Russ. Your future self and your past.
How does that work?
How did that happen?
Well, I mean, quantum entanglement.
You've gone back in time.
Yeah. You made it. See, we did it.
Myself. That's
Yeah.
effectively.
It was the whiskey
right here.
That's astrophysical masturbation.
Right
there you go.
Isn't it? You're just jerking off to all those gravitons and all those quarks and gluons. You know what I'm saying? They're just spilling all over everybody. Anywho, long story short, that grandfather paradox is predicated specifically upon points that are fixed in time. So that's why in the standard model in physics, they'll say whatever is, has been, is that, and what happens in the future could be. We haven't seen it yet, but anywho, I see only death can save us up here.
That's right, Colin. It's time to get into some
the Twilight Zone episode you were looking for is back there. That's what the name of it was. Came out in '61.
Yep.
Russell Johnson, Paul Hartman, and Bartlett Robinson was in it.
Good stuff.
Looking it up on IMDb right now. Cool. A prominent club in Washington, D.C., a socialite argues about whether it would be possible to change history by traveling back in time. When he leaves the club, he finds himself in 1865 on the night that President Lincoln will be shot. Fascinating.
It's a great episode. Like I said, we said it before in the previous show. Like many of the Twilight Zone episodes are masterpieces.
Oh yeah, just evergreen too. You can watch them now, and they're just as relevant as back then.
Some of the best television ever made.
Absolutely.
Period, Mitch. Okay, let's. I guess we're gonna dive right into only death can save us.
I'm glad you said it correctly.
Did you want me to say it like this? Only death can save us.
Yeah, that'll do.
Okay? All right, cool. I have a lot of voices I can say it in, but Russ,
let's go ahead.
Take us down memory lane.
You want us to play the video first? Or you want to talk about it first?
You want beam footage, Russ? It's Skynet. Oh, damn it. We talk too much.
I'll tell you what, go ahead and play the video. And
roll the beautiful beam footage until we can get Russ deep. Only death can save us. Did you guys like that?
I think it's in demand.
Is it?
Sam, you know a little bit about this property. You want to kind of fill us in on what Only Death Can Save Us is about?
Which one? Which one you're at?
I was talking about Zim. Yeah.
Yeah, Zim.
Randy.
Yeah. A regular human girl bumps into death and basically humanizes him as he tries to save the earth.
That's sick.
He realizes that what humanity is all about is only death can save us. That's the simplest explanation for the series. Russ is back.
Sorry, British internet.
But it's all right. I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens.
But it's aliens.
But it's aliens.
Tell us about the book, Russ.
The book is part 2 of a 3-part story. It's 66 pages of the main story, and which makes it up to another 100 pages. So it's 100-page book of background information. So kind of like the DC fact file stuff that they used to do, with sort of like giving you lots of lore and world building. So it takes you deeper into the story than the first book did. It drives you along, and it comes out at a crescendo for the third book. Yeah, that's about it. I've reached my goal. Everything's gone really well so far. Unfortunately, as I told everybody, the universe kicked my ass for the first 3 months of this year for lots of different reasons, which none of you guys out there who've backed my book, thank you very much, need to know about. But what you do need to know is it has made me late, unfortunately, which I detest. But it will be going to print at the end of June, and the book will be in people's hands this summer.
Awesome. Should I see more magnets? Is that right? On one of the perks? Go up. Because I do have magnets. Yes. No, you passed it.
Get the goal that I wanted, so I think I'm going to do a magnet with.
Skynet's got him
again.
Yeah, I know.
You think he was in Louisiana?
I've just got the lot. Am I back yet? Am I here?
Yeah, you're back. Yeah,
you're back. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, okay, I'm back. That's good. That's good. Yeah, it's it didn't quite get where I wanted it to go. Unfortunately, I went a different route, and I didn't quite market it the same way as the first book. And actually, the third book, I'm probably not going to go the crowdfunding route. And the people that have backed books 1 and 2 will hopefully, buy book 3, but they'll be benefiting from the, what they did in what they helped me with book 1 and book 2, and book 3 will be a hell of a lot cheaper because it'll be coming out through Amazon. So people will be able to pick it up very, very cheaply, and also obviously have it posted to them very cheaply as well.
Can I ask you why you decided to go that route?
I just want to go for a bigger shop window. Crowdfunding's great. But I seem to hit a similar target than I hit the first time round. And to be honest, I'm pretty much, I mean, we're all the same. We all want to just make comics. We don't want to be doing all the other stuff as well. But I understand you do have to do all the other stuff. But I wanted to take a different route and see where that would take me, to be honest with you. Just because I think that crowdfunding's great, but it's not a business model moving into the future. So, and I don't have my own website, and I don't have the funds to create like a full, bells and whistles website. So it seems to me that by getting it published on demand by someone like Amazon is a middle route. If it doesn't work for me, then it doesn't work for me. The idea is that the third one gets done in exactly the same way as the first two. So there's a set, they all look similar. And then what I'm going to do is put a compilation together and make like an Only Death Can Save Us Essentials, and have the whole thing out as a black and white, and sell that through Amazon as well.
Oh, well, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean,
but I've got so many other things going on that I've kind of got to, just see where everything takes me, really.
Gotcha. Like, you have other properties you're preparing to release, or?
No, I've got other regular gigs that I need to attend to. that are worthwhile attending to. But also, you know, I'm also working with another guy called Joe on a Bronze Age superhero book. And I'm quite into that, and he's got another thing that he wants to do, which is kind of like a sword and sorcery Conan book, which I kind of fancy as well. So there's just so many things I want to do. Effectively, what I want to do is I want to be prolific. I got to comic books late. I spoke to, I was back in the days of snail mail before email. I sent stuff off to kids. Yeah, I sent stuff off to Marvel in the mid '90s, and they accepted me. The new talent manager said, "Yeah, you're great." Yeah, but I never got any work out of it, and I had to go away and pay my mortgage and do all that kind of stuff, family stuff. And so I had a career, and I did lots of things in the creative sphere and publishing and advertising and marketing. And then I came back to it in 2010, decided, right, okay, this is what I want to do. So it effectively became my third career in my life. And I want to be as prolific as I possibly can be. And that means getting your head down and making as many pages as possible. And I know that in the modern world, we need to be seen. We need to have our own profile. We need to have a YouTube channel and all that kind of stuff. And I will be getting back to doing some live streams. But there also comes a point where you got to knuckle down and get on with some work. And I want to be prolific. So
you want to come out with your best foot forward. You know
exactly. Yeah.
I got you, man.
Now, let me, if you don't mind me asking, like, how many pages do you find yourself creating a day currently?
I can do, depending on the property, because one of the properties I'm working on at the moment requires a little bit more detail. So I'm kind of doing a page and a half pencils a day. But I can knock out 2 pages of pencils a day.
Cool.
So
Nice.
and same with inks. Once I'm ready to go inks, I can do sort of like somewhere between 1.5 and 2 pages a day.
Cool.
Nice.
So I'll show you an example if you like.
Oh yeah, then we can enhance it. Put
So
some Viagra on it. There we go.
There's a pretty straightforward page. That's not
Right.
like an over detailed page. There's some Jody on the bottom there. I'll just see another one here. I shouldn't really be showing this because
I was going to say, are we supposed to be seeing this?
But it
So
looks
it's-
amazing.
It's
They're
like
gonna
right
print
over
it
here.
anyway. They're gonna print it. They're
Yeah,
gonna see it anyway.
There you
It's
go,
gone.
JD.
It's coloured now. It's being published at the moment.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
But it
Oh,
looks
there you go.
So those are the kind of pages that I'll knock out 2 a day. So
now.
That's awesome, dude.
Now, do you okay, now there are a lot of guys who over render their pages, right? Do you find that, do you find cluttering the page, like, obvious, because your stuff is very clean, is very neat, it looks dynamic, and I mean, and everything is there. I mean, do you ever feel the need to do you think it's a detriment to to over render, because I've seen guys do it and it's just like, oh, okay.
yes, I do. However, it's not everybody that you think is over rendering. So, for instance, if you look at Jim Lee's work, so I love John Buscema, okay, and multiple inkers worked on John Buscema's work. There's an economy of line that go with people like Jack Kirby as well, and you go back to the old, like Stalin and all those Bronze Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age
guys like Toth, right?
Yeah. So you've got this economy of line, but something that Jim Lee did, in all fairness to him, is even a lot of people look at his work and go, "Wow, there's lots of rendering going on." All his work is economy of line. It's just the way he places it. So there's a difference between over rendering and adding detail and texture.
Right.
But yes, definitely. I think some pages can be overworked. And also it's how quickly do you need to get these things out?
Right.
If I had a time machine, If I had a time machine,
if you had a TARDIS,
and
for
I
example,
could, exactly,
yeah,
and I could rush back to 1975 and work in the bullpen for Marvel, which I would dearly have loved to have done.
Oh yeah.
I would find myself, I think, probably in my in a place where I'd be very happy, because I'd be asked to constantly churn out penciled pages, or even layouts, and that would be what I'd be really into, just telling the story, creating those pages, and then trusting a quality inker to finish those things off.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'd be really into. So I probably wouldn't be over rendering, because I'd be thinking about form and shape, maybe some lighting and what have you, and getting the inker to finish the process.
Nice.
But we got to get that TARDIS. That's what it sounds like. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So hey, I know a guy that knows a guy that knows a guy. so hey, just hit me up. Just hit me up when you want to rock and roll. We got JD Calderon. This looks like some of your stuff with the sex bots in your chat. We'll talk about that later, but this is the Oswald. I don't know how you pull him in, JD, but that's for another show.
I'm going to find that guy one day.
Right.
You're going to find him? You're going to find that guy that knows the guy.
One day. I'm going to find that guy. He's going to have problems. This, sir, is the Oswald Chronicles, The Adventures of a Magical Mouse in New York. So imagine the greatest sorcerer of our times being reborn in the body of a mouse. So that's basically the thought process behind this. So we have Oswald and his newfound friend Dauphin, who he finds beaten and almost dead on the step of his door, and he helps. He finds out about this guy, and he's a gnome and he's a warrior, and he hunts down evil, and he's been hunting down one particular entity for about 50 years at this point. And this particular entity took everything from Dauphin. It's murdered his family, and he's been hunting it down. And Oswald, helps revive Dauphin, and he helps him out with his adventure, and he listens to his story, and it's that whole thing. And Dauphin eventually comes back. So within the series, I should say, he's a recurring character, and with this, we actually made it past 4,000, which was cool. So then I am, as a stretch goal, I'm giving out everybody a PDF of this story. This is the cover to the story.
Wow, cool.
It's called Dauphin, An Imperfect Mantle, and it's a novel based on this character where he confronts a fallen angel who was stuck on Earth. So, instead of making it all the way to hell, he somehow got stuck in the middle, and he was revived by this sorcerer. And the angel, like I said, he's a fallen angel, so he's in between the two spaces. So he's bipolar. So
he's bipolar, kid.
So there are times he is angelic, and then there's times he's angelic. He's noble, he's kind, he's beautiful, and then there's times that he's not. He's the demon, and that's when it gets really ugly. And it was a fun little project I put together a few years ago. So I'm releasing that as a PDF. I haven't had it in print in a while. I'm going to remaster it, hopefully the next year or so, and release it as a print object. This is just a PDF.
Nice.
And then this was the first stretch goal we hit, and this is coming out as a metallic trading card. So everyone who pledged for the physical will get this item as a metallic trading card.
Nice. Nice.
You guys want this? Did you want us to roll beam footage, JD?
What?
Did you want us to roll some beam footage? Because I saw you had a video up top.
Yeah, if you want to roll it, you can roll it. That's fine.
Okay.
But these are just some pages from the story. Jade Gonzalez, fantastic artist. This stuff's incredible.
It looks
beautiful.
That
sword is awesome. I love the sword.
All this is beautiful.
Check the size of that sword out.
Hello, my fellow Valdians.
That's right, ladies.
Calderon,
That's what she
it's been
said.
way too long. But here we are with two new fantastic adventures featuring our favorite sorcerer, mouse in training, Oswald. In this first adventure, It Broke Free and Couldn't Read, we find Oswald helping out a newfound friend, Dauphin, confronting evil that took Dauphin's family from him. What can a gentle mouse do when confronted with giant spiders and a newfound friend that won't listen to him. Illustrated by the fantastic Jade Gonzalez. Additionally, we have If I Was a Few Inches Taller, where Oswald finds his friend and neighbor Ordith at war with a deadly ogre, who swears he will kill and eat Ordith the same way he did his tribe. What can Oswald do to help his friend? Along with the regular covers, we have some fantastic alternative covers by Mannix Francisco, available in regular, virgin, prismatic, and silver foil. We also have t-shirts, pins, trade paperbacks. Choose the level that best suits you and live the dream. JD out.
All right. So
And have a great day.
have a great day.
Good day.
I laugh because this is a little bit of false advertising because the first two books are there. That third book, that's not there anymore. I had to remove it because it just wasn't ready. It's going to come out in a future date, but that one just wasn't ready just yet. But that was illustrated by Renio Tillis. That's another artist that I'm working on. You guys, fantastic. But that's almost done. But I don't like to put anything out unless it's done. So
Yeah.
a little bit more work. I mean, actually, the work, but it's done now because we finished it probably about a week ago. But I didn't want to put it into the campaign until it was finished. So the other work is done. So
All right.
That's awesome.
next time,
You got 11, 12 hours left in that campaign.
12 hours. So go out
12
there.
hours.
Yes, go out there and get yourself some mouse action.
Yeah, you guys live the dream. You love mouse action. It used to be gerbil action, but we've upgraded. It's mouse.
Well,
It's
that's
still
not-
rodentous.
Well, it's mice are smaller, so you'd be downgrading. But go ahead.
I mean, okay, but it's okay.
But more comfortable, eh?
You're more comfortable. Thank you, Rob.
I don't know. You'd have to ask Stone.
That's for tomorrow's show.
And not a segue. Of course, here on Dispatches, we are shameless self-promotion. So, of course, we have to take a look at our new panelist project. He has a Kickstarter right now. Mitch, tell us about the Boger. Am I saying that right?
Yes. The word ogre with the B in front of it. The easiest way to say it.
Boger.
Yeah. Well, the Boger is the god of vengeance. If you want, say, vengeance against someone, you perform a magical spell, and he goes and kills the person you want. And this is the second completed story within the overall in the overall series. Each installment self-contained, and this one is in the 1950s, and it deals with a sheriff of the town of a small town named Bethlehem, Mississippi, and the sheriff
sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I'm from Mississippi.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I know. Yeah, it sounds real familiar. Go ahead, Mitch. Sorry.
and it's okay, it's fine. And the sheriff, when he was a kid back in the 30s, saw a black man being lynched by the Klan. So it scarred him for life. And since now he's the town sheriff, he's in a way trying to make sure that never happens again. Well, now there's a racist serial killer that's going around town killing entire black families that the Sheriff Tate's is investigating. And all of a sudden, the Boger shows up and starts killing white people in town. And the sheriff is trying to stop both sets of killings while also trying to find out, or also learning that both sets of killings have something to do with that night when he was a child that he witnessed.
Oh, cool.
So it's kind of like a murder mystery of him trying to find out who the killer is. And also a story of survivor's guilt, because he's constantly haunted by the fact that he never told anyone about it. So he's kind of been suffering in silence this whole time.
That's heavy.
Yeah, that's a heavy topic.
Yeah, my stuff isn't exactly lighthearted, or
No, but it takes.
That's fine.
Yeah, it takes some chutzpah to get out there and write about stuff like this.
Right.
Yeah.
So major kudos, Mitch.
Thank you.
Taking the the initiative. because like it's not an easy topic to talk about, number one, but then let alone make that out of a fiction, right?
Yeah.
And so to take that as a creative vehicle, that takes a lot of personal effort, a lot of personal motivation. So yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Is that? No, you're welcome, my friend. That's currently available? That's like in demand now. The Boger and what series? Like number 1 and 2.
Well, this is the overall graphic novel, so this is the entire mini series collected into one volume. That's why it's $20 a book.
There you go, folks.
Yeah,
there you go, folks.
Yeah.
I just remember, check the comments or check the show description and everything. All the links are going to be in there, even for Mitch's website. Go check that out too. So
that's impressive, because I just write about skull guys kicking the crap out of demons. It's nice.
It's all awesome. What
it's just.
There
he
great.
is.
It's cool.
There he is.
The artwork.
There he is.
I like the the Jack Kirby vibe.
Yeah.
Of the artwork.
But you gotta love it. That's what's great about this independent community, because you see all these ideas and then this admiration for
they're not limited
all this creativity. Right.
There's so much variety out there at the moment.
Absolutely.
Independent comics are very exciting at the moment.
It's don't get Grandmaster Zimmerman started about the nature of where we are for independent comics, but he'll be absolutely right, because it's a golden age for independent comics, and I think we need to take more advantage of it.
Right now, if I look at this panel, I can say that it's Grandmaster Zim and the Furious Five.
Grandmaster Zim, that's a comic.
Funny.
I'll be the guy with the stripper lights, and then my superhero outfit would be like bright neon colors. And then the way I defeat bad guys, I just shine bright neons at them. They're like, I'm melting. You know what I mean?
Power of pink.
The power of pink. And then I get sued by the Susan G. Komen Foundation. That's our killer for breast cancer. And then I'm canceled by all the blue hairs on Twitter. Let's make it happen. I want that to happen.
HR right now is rolling on the floor, by the way.
Oh, hey, HR. We love you. That's our producer, HR. Let's roll into it.
It's our human resource department.
Oh, well, let's get ready talking about this one right here. The Fellowship of the Indians.
Did you want me to talk about it? It's Russ's book. It's my book. It's J.D. Calderon's book. It's D. Fish's book. It's a book, an anthology book. There's 9 great, phenomenal comics, 32 pages in each book, beautifully published, beautifully
3 staples
printed.
in each book.
3 staples on each spine. Yeah.
Yeah.
That were all put together for a deal that we later found out never existed. But just because that didn't happen doesn't mean that you can't enjoy these books. We're offering all 9 of these titles for $25 plus shipping on both the Fellowship of the Indies over on Kickstarter and the Long Shots campaign over on Indiegogo. And if you want a description of the books, just go over to either one of those campaigns and read up about them. There's all sorts of extras added in: metal bookmarks, sketch covers, trading cards, or not sketch covers, but sketch cards, trading cards. And with the Fellowship of the Indies books, we're also offering the month 2 books. And the month 2 books include 2 additional properties, 2 new number 1s. So there's some samples from HeroBot Zero. That's my creation, little 3-foot tall giant robot. Superhero Action with the Hybrid Sons of Gods by Luke Stone. And Luke is currently running a campaign, I believe, for issue 8 right now of the hybrids. Only Death Can Save Us. We just looked at that campaign earlier. This is the first third of the first book, plus a lot of backup material that is just phenomenal to see. Oswald Chronicles is Oswald's first story, only now it's in color. Beautiful color, by the way.
Beautiful done.
Indie Revolt, which is a collection of short stories, all of which are just great, with contributors like J.R. Harris and Emily Zelasco in there. Shield of the Interceptor is also by the artwork is also by Russ Leach, and J.D. Rosario did the writing on that. The Tall Tales, J.D. Calderon did the writing on that, and Daphne Lage did the artwork on it.
Oh, yeah.
It's a sword and sorcery, or not sword and, I wouldn't call it a sword and sorcery book. Would you, J.D.? What would you call it? Are you there?
JD.
Wellkeeper?
JD,
No, it's
No,
definitely
not Wellkeeper.
Tall
Tall Tales. What would you call Tall Tales?
Oh, Tall Tales. Tall Tales. Yeah, I would call it Sword and Sorcery. It's Sword and Sorcery. But yeah,
It's got a
definitely fantasy,
sword-wielding
sword and
panda
sorcery
in it. How
style.
can you go wrong?
You can't go wrong.
You can't.
There's
go
no
wrong.
way.
And then Wellkeeper. Just look at that
Axe
artwork
wield- axe
by
wielding
D. Fish. That's some great fantasy work. Some beautifully tender artwork.
Yeah.
All of these books are phenomenally successful in their own right. Just because this deal didn't go through doesn't mean that you're not going to see a lot more from these properties as we go along.
That's correct. All of these.
So along with that, metal bookmarks, sketch cards, trading cards, and there's PDFs for the second month's worth of books offered as well in the Fellowship of the Indies campaign. That includes a book called Calico that C. Michael did the artwork on, and Paragon, which is a superhero story that I wrote that J.R. Harris did the artwork on.
That's awesome.
Some
Shout out
great
to you,
stuff
C.
there.
Michael.
Oh, did you get the second Interceptor book as well?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a whole story.
Yes.
Month two,
That's
yeah.
encapsulated story, issue 1 and issue 2.
Tall Tales is like that too, isn't it? Yeah. So you want to get the month 2 books as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is great stuff. And the tiers that you're offering Rand. Go ahead, JD.
Well, the thing with the month 2 books.
Yeah. Go ahead, JD.
Oh, you're breaking up on us.
Oh no, Skynet has got JD now. It went from Russ to JD. Oh no.
Basically, those month 2 books and I think I phased out of existence again, but those month 2 books. Yes.
Yeah,
we all get sucked in.
It's Skynet. Anyway, they're great books.
Yeah, folks. That's what you need to know. And you're getting them at a reduced cost. You know what I'm saying?
Take a look at the campaigns.
Anyway, but those month 2 books, they're just being created for this limited to
just for this campaign. That's what he meant to say. But we were well into production on these books coming out monthly. They were supposed to go into a retail chain on a monthly basis. And the Calico, the Only Death Can Save Us, Paragon, and HeroBot Zero were going to be bi-monthly and flip-flop every month. So
I did extra pages and everything.
Beautiful extra pages.
Those extra pages will end up in the because I will be doing a reprint on Amazon of all 3 books. So the books that were in the book 1 and book 2 that were in the campaigns, obviously they're unique. They don't get printed again. They're unique in the way that they're produced and everything about them. But I will be re-editing and providing other stuff for Amazon publication, and that extra stuff will be in there.
That's awesome. It's just a great introduction to a variety of genres within the independent comics. And
it is.
I'll say it again, that independent comics are, in terms of ideas, creativity, and variety, they're far superior to what people commonly know from like the so-called big 2. So if you haven't really read a lot of comics, if you're a late bloomer or whatever you want to call yourself, this is a fantastic campaign to hop in on. And like Rand said earlier, these are continuing titles. You know what I mean? So you want to get those book 2s. And listen, once you get them, hey, you're going to tell somebody else about them. You're going to give one of them, be like, hey, I got book 2. You read this book 1 because this is awesome. And then what's the best thing we say at the end of all these shows? Buy independent comics, especially ours, right? Yeah. Right. So this is one of those. This is the biggest segue. Look at that. Can we get some Viagra on that?
It's
to enhance
the colors. The colors are vibrant. The printing is amazing.
It's amazing. Guys.
The interior stock is phenomenal, nice and shiny. Look at how shiny that is.
Yep.
That is ridiculous, dude.
It's just some beautifully printed books.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're at the top of the hour. We need to go ahead and go around and give some introductions of where we can find people. Last in, first out. JD, tell them where we can find you, sir.
Under JD Calderon, you can find me under Facebook, Twitter, DeviantArt, Instagram, YouTube under JD Calderon as well, Indie Comics Explained. just about every Sunday, and I do mean that, just about every Sunday, not every Sunday. And on occasionally, I'll do one-on-one interviews with artists. Once at one point, I got to get Russ on there. Russ, maybe we can set something up. Something with a human hour for you, because I know you're like 5 hours ahead of us or something.
So we got to get Russ on
Yeah, too late. Too late.
Yeah, I know. So pretty much that's it. Oh, and you can go check out the Oswald Chronicles. 12 hours left on Kickstarter. Go get yourself a copy, please. Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
It's almost 5. It's over 5 in the morning where you're at, Russ.
Yeah, it's 4. It's
4.
Okay. I'll get some sleep.
Nice.
Russ, tell them where we can find you at, man.
Yeah, where can we find you?
Yeah, you can find me in all the normal places. YouTube. I'm Comic Book Black Belt there. You can find me on Twitter over at the picture one. Sorry, I've had too much to drink. I'm all over the place. The best thing to do is just go to russleach.com and everything's there. You can just get all the links from that.
Absolutely.
And of course, again, the links will also be in the description. So, Stone, I'm just going across. I don't know how we got mixed up, but Stone, tell me where we can find you, man.
So, number one, I'm not a cop. Okay, so that's why I put that in my name, just to get that out there first. Okay. Second, hey guys, you can find me at journeyoftheshadow.com. It's lit over there, as the kids would say. My next book, Darkness Falls, is dropping sometime next month, which is May. And I always say this. My editor said this is quite large, and I replied back to my editor, "That's what she said." This is a large book, maybe over 600 pages. It really expounds upon what's already out there. Journey of the Shadow, Volume 1, science fiction, urban fantasy, metaphysical, erotica, whatever, comedy. You want that? It's in there. It's a story that I wanted to write, and also with the release of Darkness Falls, I'll be working on the third book. This is now making this announcement. The third novel will be called Vengeance Theorem. So starting next month, I'll be writing or rewriting the third novel, which will be even longer than Darkness Falls. So you guys look out for that stuff. Journeyoftheshadow.com. All my links are there. If you want to hit me up, journeyoftheshadow@gmail.com.
All right. Excellent.
Nice.
Mitch.
Where you at, Mitch?
I'm Mitch Rogers. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram. Just search my name. My website, Celtic Cross Comics. You can find me there. And the Boger is on topasscomics.com or wherever the website is. I actually just uploaded a new Boger story yesterday. So over on Topass, you can read the latest installment of the current storyline, which takes place in feudal Japan. Time period I've always wanted to write a story in.
Tokugawa, let's go. Tokugawa era.
And don't forget the Southern Gothic Kickstarter still going on. And that's about it.
Yep, 35 days left on that. So get over there and back that, definitely. Randy, Zimster.
And you can look for me over on Stacker and Rumble and Glub, but I won't be there. I'm over on Facebook. I'm on Facebook under Randy Zim. Don't look for me over on Twitter over there either. I do have an account there, but it's just to chase off that Russian hacker who stole my site in the first place. But Facebook's the best way to get a hold of me. Either that or stay tuned to the Raging 2 Network and catch the Zimcast tomorrow night, where we talk about news and other media stuff with a bit of opinion mixed in just for fun, just to piss people off. And,
we're equal opportunity offenders.
Yeah, we are very equal opportunity offenders. And also look for me on Sunday mornings, where we talk about our passions, stuff that we love, in a lighthearted, more whimsical show, hopefully, most of the time, except for when the conversation starts a wandering, called Sunday Funnies. It's 9 a.m. on Sundays, where we try to put the fun back into the funny books. And then you'll see me back here again next Tuesday if C will allow me, and we'll cover another dispatches from outside the box.
Oh, absolutely.
And we'll see how that goes. Other than that, I'm deeply entrenched in commercial artwork right now, and with a couple of local clients, and I'm working on a graphic novel of my previous 6 months worth of COVID experience, and then after that, hopefully, I'll get back around to that graphic novel talking about the comic market and comics history. So we'll see how that goes, plus more of the other stuff that you see on that Long Shots and Fellowship of the Indies campaigns. So check those out on the previously mentioned platforms.
Awesome.
Links are in the description, folks.
Links are in
Go
the
support
description.
us.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much, and have a nice day.
Have a nice
great
day.
day. Have a
Great day.
Well, hold on. I want to tell them you can find me. Hold on.
Oh, well, yeah. See, where can we find you, see?
Everybody's closing out.
Where can we find you, C?
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hey, you got
Come on, buddy.
Linktree. Anything you need to know about me is on Linktree.
He might be on the Zimcast tomorrow too, along with Stone Abdullah there.
Yeah, we might be there.
If
Just,
Stone's awake and C is allowed. Yeah.
Yeah, if he's allowed by HR, there's a lot of dependencies here,
Yeah.
But of course, we will be back here next week with our panelists, Zim, Mitch, and Stone, where we're going to be talking with Michael Odin and George Gant of Beware of Toddler about comic strips. And so you don't want to miss that. So that's going to be an interesting talk.
Not
Comic
Michael
strips?
Odin.
Yeah.
What the hell are those?
What the hell? What the hell is
Tune
that?
in next week to find out.
Who the heck is that? Yeah.
All right. So with that, I'm going to say good night and leave y'all with our word of the week. Good night, everybody.
Our word
good,
of the
everybody.
week.
Oh, again, like, subscribe, share,
Take
knock
care,
on the
everybody.
neighbor's door, tell them about it. If you're in a grocery store, tell the person across from you. Anyway,
Subscribe to that Raging 2 network too.
that's it.
Yeah.
Hit the button.
Hit the
Hit
button.
the button.
Hit the button.
All right. Good night.
Hit it.
Hit it.
Bye, guys.
So
See
Back
ya.
to the Future's a bunch of bullshit.